الشعب يريد إسقاط الحكومة.
Hello and welcome back to Press TV's special coverage of the Arab uprisings. We're going to turn our attention now from Bahrain, which has been seeing massive protests, to Libya. Similar scenes in Libya, of course, amid a wide media crackdown there. We're not getting many pictures coming in from Libya. A lot of the pictures are amateur videos coming in, of course, from the protesters on YouTube or elsewhere on the internet. People not being able to videotape or report what's happening there, but from the reports that are coming in, we're hearing that up to 1,000 people have reportedly been killed in the bombing raid that's been used by the government against the anti-government protesters. The numbers are truly unbelievable of these protesters who've been facing an extremely violent crackdown, not anything like what's been happening across Egypt or Bahrain. The crackdown on these protesters in Libya has been much more violent, with machine guns used, with bombs used, and reports saying that the army has used fighter jets against these protesters. The latest news is saying, according to one news agency, soldiers who no longer back the Libyan leader have said that eastern Libya is not under the control of Muammar Gaddafi now. They're saying that the town of Tobruk in east of Libya is in the hands of the protesters and the people now, and they say it has been for 3 days. And the Libyan side of the Egyptian border is also, according to reports, being controlled by armed anti-Gaddafi rebels who are welcoming visitors from Egypt. One witness has also said that Benghazi has been, in his words, liberated, amid, of course, reports of the police and army joining these protesters. A lot of towns in Libya we've been hearing over the past days that they have fallen into the hands of the protesters and the residents, but still, as the protests spread to Tripoli, the capital, the government has been using a lot of force there. Of course, this violence escalated on Monday as these protesters took to the streets in the capital, Tripoli. They've been calling for Muammar Gaddafi's ouster. He's been in power for more than 40 years. And just 2-3 days back, his son appeared on state television, and he said that there would be civil war in Libya if the protesters don't go back. And his speech was largely criticized both from inside Libya officials there and from the outside world. People saying that the Libyan officials should not threat protesters with the use of violence. We are hearing from media, and a lot of the Arab media, that Muammar Gaddafi himself is about to appear on state television shortly, and he's going to make a statement. He has appeared on state television to say that the rumours that he's gone out of the country are untrue, saying that he will remain in Libya and he doesn't intend to go anywhere. But we're expecting another speech by President Muammar Gaddafi. We don't know when, but according to media, it will be shortly today. So we will be waiting for that. We're also hearing that the UN Security Council is meeting as well to discuss Libya. So we are expecting a statement from the UN Security Council as well. And as I said, the situation in Libya is in a point that countries from around the world are making extreme measures and emergency measures to evacuate their residents, as the situation there is indeed looking like it's escalating into civil war, as Muammar Gaddafi's son had warned. He did use some very tough words when he made that speech on television. He said that Libya would see rivers of blood if the protesters don't go back. We're also hearing of foreign oil companies starting to evacuate their staff. Now, Libya is the world's 12th largest oil exporter, and it's the largest oil exporter in Africa, according to the International Energy Agency. There are a lot of foreign oil companies working there, and now reports say that they've started to evacuate their staff amid the escalation in violence there. Now, among Libyan authorities themselves, the Justice Minister has resigned over, he says, the violence used against the protesters, the excessive use of force. The Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations of Libya, we are also hearing ambassadors to China, India, Malaysia and Bangladesh, as well as Libya's envoy to the Arab League, have all resigned from their posts to show their protest and to say that they're with the protesters and no longer with Muammar Gaddafi's regime. Of course, because of that use of force, you're seeing the scenes we're seeing here. A lot of them, of course, what you're seeing is Tobruk, as I said, in eastern Libya. Reports say now that town is now in the hands of the protesters and it's no longer being controlled by the regime. We've had a lot of world reactions, of course, on what's been happening in Libya. The UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, has urged Gaddafi to show restraint, to stop the violence. He's expressed outrage over the reported use of live rounds, warplanes and helicopters to suppress the protests. Navi Pillay, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that the systematic attacks against civilians could amount to crimes against humanity.
يكفي نار ويكفي دم لا قذافي يخرج